In today's world, there's no film industry like Hollywood that has perfected the art of using visual effects in movies and TV shows. That's the reason they dare to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on just a single film. And more often than not, a film comes out that's a complete game changer.
Don't run! Run! Definitely run!
Hello everyone, and today we'll look at some of the all-time favorite movie scenes and how they really look like before and after VFX. So, let's get started.
Showtime, a-holes!
At number 10, Superman. Superman is probably the greatest superhero of all time, and it's not always easy to create the famous character flying in high altitudes. If we watch the recent films of the series, the advancement in technology has made the job a lot easier. In the midst of a green screen environment and wires attached to his sides and back, the actor performs all his stunts with a few people in their green suits to help him out. However, it was quite different a few decades back when the tech wasn't available the way it is now. So if we look back at the 1978 Superman blockbuster, there was an earthquake scene where Superman uses his entire body to fill out a broken train track to prevent the accident. To accomplish this scene, a combination of rear projection and matte painting was used for all the various angles, the front, side, and top angle of the shots. At number 9, The Abyss. The 1989 science fiction film The Abyss has earned a special place not just in James Cameron's archive, but in the history of cinema. The movie had some groundbreaking effects which paved the way for the future of the VFX technology thereafter. The film shows us the deep, murky waters of the Atlantic Ocean. However, much of it was actually filmed in a retrofitted decommissioned nuclear reactor facility in South Carolina. Almost 7.5 million gallons of water were pumped into the massive tanks to film the various underwater scenes. The best visual effects scene of the movie was a sequence that lasted about 75 seconds. It took a mammoth 6 months of work to envision and create the pseudopod, a water-based life form with a realistic watery tentacle morphed into Mary's face. The VFX company ILM designed a program to produce surface waves of differing sizes and kinetic properties for the pseudopod. To mimic Bud and Dr. Lindsay's face, their multiple facial expressions were scanned using the software used to create computer-generated sculptures. The film set was photographed from every angle and digitally recreated so that the pseudopod could be accurately composited into the live-action footage. At number 8, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The thing that stands out in the Planet of the Apes film is the remarkable tale of humans and super-intelligent apes battling for survival in a post-apocalyptic near future. The effects are incredible throughout the film. The emotional quotient and the quality of the acting that the fully digital apes present was a first of its kind. The credit goes to the entire VFX team, who made sure that the shots in which human actors react to computer-generated apes carry genuine emotional depth. All the digital apes were created using a mixture of hand animation and motion capture footages of Andy Serkis and the other actors portraying the apes. One particular scene in which Maurice, a Bornean orangutan talking with the teenage boy Alexander, stood out. You would rarely believe it's not the real orangutan. The actor Karen Knovel mimicked Maurice to perfection, where the audience felt the emotional quotient more than the flawless effects. At number 7, Gravity. Creating the visual effects for a space film is unlike any other film. Weightlessness in space and the camera work are some of the many challenges that the creators have to overcome. The space station in the 2013 film Gravity was the most realistic representation of a space station ever done in a movie. For the scenes where the actor approaches the camera, they would not necessarily move, but instead, the camera would fly towards the actor with the help of the Iris robotic camera rig from Bot and Dolly. This combination of flying the camera and lighting Clooney and Bullock by the lightbox made sure that the sequences involving the two lead actors were accurately filmed. However, for much of the movie, only their facial performance was real. The rest of their bodies, suits, hands, and legs, the entire environment, and the space station were all digital and fully computer animated. At number 6, The Avengers. Even though it's the first of the Avengers film franchise, the film contained more than 2,000 visual effects shots. To create the on-screen Hulk in a scene where Thor attacks him, here, Mark Ruffalo had to wear a motion capture suit on set and prosthetics on the upper half of his body to simulate the Hulk's huge size. The vast majority of the New York cityscape we see in the film was digitally recreated by the VFX team, with the actors performing amidst acres of green screen. Now everyone remembers the famous scene where the Avengers assemble in the middle of all this chaos. To create this scene, the VFX company ILM sent out a dedicated team of 4 photographers to gather all the photographic textures needed to recreate the environment scene in the all-in-one shot. And it took almost 6 weeks to gather all the pictures. At number 5, Jumanji. Well, the movie we're talking about is not the recent one involving The Rock, but the 1995 blockbuster Jumanji. By the time the movie was shot, the use of CGI became a trend to create great visuals. So this film took full advantage of the use of CGI to depict living, breathing jungle creatures. And it wasn't all CGI. The film also involved a great deal of practical effects, including full-scale creatures made to puppeteer. The scene where the house was split in 2 parts was actually a miniature shoot in front of a blue screen. Now, the monkeys wreaking havoc in the house and taking control of police vehicles are completely CGI. For the VFX company ILM, dealing with furry creatures at that time was quite a breakthrough. In another scene where the racing rhinos attack the house, here's the image breakdown showing the original plate through to wireframe and the subsequent final render of the scene. At number 4, Mad Max Fury Road. In a world where petrol and water are scarce commodities, it's quite a story. And the creators of this 2015 film made sure it turns out to be a great visual spectacle. Hundreds of VFX artists spent a considerable time rendering more than 2,000 visual effects shots and transformed the exquisite photography into the final film that feels almost like a single car chase. But not everything was CGI. A lot of it were practical effects shot in varying conditions. The only VFX on the actor's costume was the green glove Charlize Theron wore to hide her arm, and they also took out wires from the harnesses. The other extensive effects work included altering lighting and the time of day, weather effects, terrain replacement, and plate composition. In this particular scene, to create the final toxic storm, a dust element chute for swirling was incorporated quite close to the camera, and streams of sand were blown off of the vehicles. The background was so dark that it became feasible for them to put fans in the background and not see them. At number 3, Independence Day. The 1996 science fiction film about alien invasion depended heavily on miniature models and practical effects, and there were just 430 computer-generated effects. However, one particular scene stood out. The iconic special effects scene was the explosive destruction of the White House by the alien invaders. The scene was achieved using a 1/12 of the miniature model, about 14 feet wide, built out of plaster with a mold which was then blown to pieces in front of 9 to 10 cameras. It was then followed by a touch of composting and some CGI debris to create the amazing effect. The alien creatures wear biomechanical suits that were based on a design pitched to the director. These suits were 8 feet tall, equipped with 25 tentacles, and purposely designed so that a person cannot sustain inside it, and would not appear to be a man in a suit. At number 2, The Revenant. The bear attack was probably the most talked about scene in the 2015 film The Revenant. The bear was entirely a CG creation. After the bear was created in the computer, she was hand-animated. Then, every movement of the fur, flesh, and muscle was integrated into the plate with natural lighting. So it was DiCaprio alone who performed nearly the entire sequence himself, with only a couple of moments, like a tumble down a hill, when a stunt performer stood in for him. So finally, the number 1 movie in our list, Captain America: The First Avenger. There's one character in the 2011 film Captain America which is still fresh in our minds. Well, it's not the superhero which he later turns into, but the skinny version of the protagonist. The actual execution of the visual effects in the film, where an extremely tall and athletic Chris Evans is made to look like a 90-pound skinny version for the first half of the film, is quite commendable. The Skinny Steve sequences were also filmed in an ordinary way using a technique known as digital plastic surgery that involved shrinking Chris in all dimensions. Here you can see Evans as pre-serum Steve Rogers before and after he was visually reduced. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and what do you think of these VFX scenes? And which one of the 10 movie scenes is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Do like and share this video with your friends on social media. For more such amazing things, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And finally, thanks for watching.